LiberalViewer presents.
So when Texas Governor Rick Perry announced he was running for the Republican nomination for president last Saturday, many Americans best knew him from his recent participation in a prayer rally in his state to ask God to halt the decline of America, which is what made the next story that Fox actually reported as news so insidious, as I'll explain after you watch where Fox News went after reporting on Perry's Iowa plans in this clip.
He'll be in Waterloo, Iowa at the same time Congresswoman Bachmann will be. He's talking about what he can do for America. And I don't know if you've heard, but prayers answered. It is raining in Texas. Finally, the drought-stricken, previously wildfire-ravaged state in desperate need of rain. A lot of people praying for it. The state's now governor, running for president, Perry, declared a National Prayer Day a while back. Some rain, finally, for the Lone Star State.
Now, that seemingly innocuous clip has a lot of logical and factual problems packed in there, starting with the huge confirmation bias in attributing Saturday's rain to the Texas governor's call for prayers for rain, especially considering that Rick Perry's original call to pray for rain came last April, almost 4 months ago, and even more misleading was Fox News' implication that this rain actually answered prayers to end the drought because, as the Dallas News reported, quote, despite the welcome wet weather, the state is still in one of the worst droughts in its history, unquote. In fact, the National Weather Service's Climate Prediction Center shows continuing drought predicted for Texas despite this weekend's rain, which seems a lot like the problem with Los Angeles weather that the late great comedian Bill Hicks commented on in this clip.
Every time I'm here, it's pouring down rain. Every time you watch the weatherman, he goes, rained all day. Didn't help the drought. Back to you, Tom. I got news for you, folks. If water doesn't solve your drought, you're screwed, okay? There's nothing else coming. There's no anti-drought gel being developed by DuPont right now. Almost sure water was the #1 shoe-in answer.
Of course, that 1992 clip about water not solving the drought problem has a more serious meaning these days in Texas because beyond the La Niña conditions contributing to Texas drought this season, it's actually man-made global climate change that's drying out the American Southwest, according to a 2007 article in Science magazine. But, of course, those scientific facts never made it into the Fox News report, even though a New York Times opinion article from that same day on the Texas drought cited the 2007 Science magazine article and went on to end with the paragraph, quote, up in Austin, Governor Rick Perry is moving toward a run for the presidency, but he has had precious little to say about the drought that is devastating his state. He did organize a prayer for rain back in April. Looking at that blazing hot, clear blue sky up there, it seems heaven isn't listening, unquote. Now, I guess ending with it seems heaven isn't listening is just as biased as saying prayers were answered, though at least that conclusion better fits the facts, and at least that New York Times article was clearly labeled as opinion, unlike that supposed news report on Fox. But I want to know what you think was behind all that illogical misinformation from Fox News about Texas rain answering prayers. Did Fox News play up the supposed effect of prayers on Texas weather as an insidious attempt to undermine the science of man-made climate change? Or, as an alternative, did Fox News play up the supposed effect of prayer on Texas weather as an attempt to hide the actual ineffectiveness of Republican presidential hopeful Rick Perry's prayers?
YouTube, you decide.